I expected this pretty amazing. And when you watch tape of Michigan, I think it's amazing how good a coach can make a difference. It really is. I think McElwain's illustrated that at Florida. Harbaugh's illustrated that at Michigan. It's fun to watch, man. It's not amazingly different as far as scheme and the players. I don't think the players are where they're going to be in the future, but the attitude is just awesome. It's double teams are just more violent. I love it. I freaking love it. I'm a defensive lineman, so I like the way the defensive line plays and active and just aggressive and hateful. I like that. I love that.
As a defensive guy, 3 straight shutouts. I mean, is this defense? Is this really a good defense at this point, or you look at some of the teams that played and hard to really crown them yet?
Well, I think it's always it's the toughest thing in our job is to watch people against competition and then be able to project them against better competition. Here's the thing about the defense: hyper aggressive, likes to play man coverage, likes to play press, get up in your kitchen. Who have they played on the outside that has speed? Big win at Utah. Utah doesn't have any burners. BYU has 0 burners. Northwestern doesn't have any burners. So I think this week's a big test. Now, Michigan State's banged up along the offensive line like crazy, so they might not even be able to protect Cook enough to take advantage of it. But I'd like to see Michigan against speed on offense because I haven't seen that part yet. But they're still, the way they're playing, as physical as they play in the D-line, and just it's still fun to watch and it's still enjoyable. But I do wonder with some speed on the outside how they'll handle it.
How much of the change, though, is, you mentioned Harbaugh, but how much of it is DJ Durkin and what he gives this defense?
It's all together. I think when you got a head coach that's got that kind of swag and that kind of toughness and demands it, and it's not fake, it's authentic, I think it goes to the whole team. So I think there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. You're going to do it or you're not going to do it. I think a lot of these players are hungry because they've lost a lot now and they're sick and tired of it. And I think it only got better after the BYU game, too, because Utah, pick 6, 3 interceptions, didn't play great, but still hung in the game, and now you see what Utah is. But then you beat BYU, and you smash them, and you get confidence. And I remember when I was at Georgia my sophomore year, we had the hobnail boot game against Tennessee. We had no business beating Tennessee, probably. And, I'll put it this way. I played defensive tackle. The other defensive tackles on the other side was Albert Haynesworth and John Henderson. One of these things are not like the other. So we go up there to Knoxville and we win with Coach Rick, and our season took off, just took off, because we started to believe we could do it. Confidence is a powerful thing, and so I think these kids are playing with a ton of confidence. I think they got that swag that they need, and then they got the toughness and the attitude that they need, and coaching up good ball players. Because when I watch the offense from Michigan, I think you're maximizing every drop you have, because I don't see a ton of athleticism that's popping off the tape that I just go, man, look at that freak at the outside of wide receiver. It's just sound. It's really good.
That being said, Michigan State's not getting much pub as a chance to win in this game. They have those playmakers. I know they're banged up on the offensive line.
Yeah.
When you look at them, all the talk is on one side, it seems, this week. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, and now, I guess, in our business, we're supposed to talk about lines, I guess, more than ever, and you can tell it becomes more part of it. Now, I was kind of shocked when you see, Michigan is an 8-point favorite in this game or whatever it is now. I don't know. Those things move, I know, but I'm not a gambling man. But I think it's kind of surprising. I think Michigan State's earned it over the last several years, but if you look at this, I think one thing that you have to take in its totality is this season. Ohio State hasn't looked great. Michigan State hasn't looked great. Purdue, Rutgers, those are games they could have lost. So I think they don't deserve a ton of respect, but they have been banged up. Conklin, I love him. Their left tackle, that dude's. You talk about a guy playing with a nasty attitude. He doesn't like people, and I like that. I don't want my offensive lineman and defensive lineman to like people. I want them to be rude and mean and nasty. So he's one of those guys they need back, and they've been banged up along the front line, and so it'll be interesting too, because you know how it works too. Sometimes with a big game, all of a sudden you got something to get up for, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of energy they bring. But conversely, their defensive line is really good, and by far the best defensive line that you're going to face. They got some maulers in that defensive front, and so in turn, I think Jake's going to have to make plays. He's going to have to throw the football, and I don't think he's shown that he's I don't think he's bad by any stretch, but if I'm running my defensive scheme, I want him to beat me. I'm going to make him beat me. Yep. So I think Michigan State's defensive line might possibly could do that too.
Given the upward trajectory of Michigan, and quick upward trajectory, is Michigan State-Michigan a rivalry that's back in national prominence now? Or is it too early to say that?
Game day's here.
Okay, but what else?
Enough said. I mean,
that's the only factor. But what else has brought it back to national prominence?
It's the biggest game of the week. I mean,
the week is usually, of the season, though.
Well, for y'all, yeah, but it's not the biggest game of the season. But I mean, this game last year, we weren't talking about this game. Nobody cared about this game. It was how bad Michigan was going to lose by. So, I mean, it's been ugly. You know, since the little brothers kind of own this series, and so I think it'll be fun to get this back to where it used to be, and to making it fun and to making it competitive, because it hasn't been ultra competitive the last couple of years.
But on the kind of in-state bragging rights, I mean, these are two programs that play a similar style now and are in the same place. Is there importance there to the rivalry in terms of going forward?
That they're in the similar set.
That they might be going after the same kids.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, Michigan State's been cleaning up and recruiting better than they ever have. There's no secret why. I mean, it's easier to sell. They've been a great program. They've won Rose Bowls. They've won Big Ten. I mean, it's absolutely. Of course it matters. Winning matters in recruiting. When I was picking my schools of where I wanted to go to college, I didn't go, I really like this school, but they suck. I mean, I was like, I want to win, and I want to win at the highest level. And I think Michigan having success, having Harbaugh, having that cachet, that name, people know that he coached in the NFL. He can put them in the NFL, which, I mean, that means something too. That meant something to me in 2001 when I was coming out of high school. I was like, I wanted to play in the NFL. I wanted to go do that for a living and make a lot of money. Yes, please, sign me up. So, absolutely, 100% it helps, and this game helps. But it's been very one-sided as of late, and you've seen the recruiting has been better for Michigan State as of late as well.
This game's getting the feel of a old school Big Ten style, knock them down, drag them out fight. Are you expecting that tomorrow for just a great view for the audience?
Yeah, it should be. I don't anticipate the Baylor TCU, or I don't anticipate TCU Kansas State by any stretch of the imagination. I think the biggest difference in the game is Connor Cook is really good, and people have slept on him for a number of years. I think he's first-round draft pick type good. Now, does he make some bonehead decisions? Absolutely. Sometimes I'm watching the tape and I'm just going, dude, seriously? Your third-year starter, you can't do that, But he's got some really good talent. He's got some receivers he can make plays to. For them, if they can protect him with the offensive line banged up as well as bad as they are, I think he can make some plays. He can be the difference in the game, but that's assuming that he can throw and stay upright.
There was a time when Brady Hoke was in his first year here. Michigan goes to a big bowl game.
Sugar Bowl, right?
Fan base is
beating Virginia Tech. Yeah.
Fan base is riled up. They're rejuvenated. It kind of went through a lull. Now Jim Harbaugh is back. 5 wins.
You saying this is Brady Hoke 2.0?
Is this smoke and mirrors? Is it too early to say Michigan is back in the national spotlight, the national prominence, and this is a good team? Or have you seen things differently with how this team plays that says, no, they're the real deal?
Well, the one thing I'll say about that Michigan team was I think that Michigan team was a lot more talented than this one. It had Denard Robinson, who was one of the best playmakers in college football. I mean, he was obviously, and it wasn't Michigan. It was still Rich Rod kind of flavor, but they had some talented guys. I think this game needs to happen, and they need to beat Michigan State. But I don't have any doubt when you look at where they're at right now that they already deserve respect for what they've been able to accomplish. It's not like they just eat by Utah or BYU. Excuse me. It's not like you eat by Northwestern. You stomped a mud hole in them, and so that's you took care of business. And so I think they're definitely proving that they're going to be contenders in the Big Ten, because I think the talent's going to get better. The recruiting will get better. The offensive lines and defensive lines are pretty solid, but they need some playmakers. They need to find some of those guys, and I think Harbaugh will. So I think it's the start of Michigan coming back. Yeah, I feel like Michigan's on the rise. I don't feel like this is going to be a Brady Hoke where they have one good season. I think Michigan's going to be, as long as Harbaugh's there, they're going to be contenders, and they're going to be a pain in some people's aces.
That being said, who needs this game more?
I don't know. I mean, y'all would say Michigan. Michigan State people would say Michigan State. I mean, I don't know who needs it more. I don't think this defines anyone's season regardless. The way college football is this year, I'm not sure anybody's out of it either with a loss. My gosh. I mean, if Michigan State loses a close one, maybe they're still not out of it. Michigan's still not out of it. Utah's ranked number 1 by several people in the country. When you start talking about teams and what they've accomplished already. So I think it's both teams, if they want to stay alive, need it. But you'd probably say the expectations of Michigan State coming into the season and where they thought they would be were a lot higher. So maybe you say they need it more, but I don't think it really matters.
Do you want to see this game for proof on Michigan in your mind? I mean, is it a
proof for what?
Well, just because the competition hasn't been necessarily, other than Utah, that they've beaten, hasn't been up to maybe the level of the national level. I mean, in your mind, are you eager to see them play another team?
I want to see them play some speed on the perimeter, a good quarterback. But again, if they're competitive, I don't think it matters. They don't have to win the game. I don't think Michigan has to go out here and win this game to prove anything to anybody else. But again, I come from this perspective of I'm watching a lot of tape on these guys, and I'm watching a lot of tape on all of these teams across the country. I don't think Michigan's superior athletically than a lot of teams across the country. I think they're doing a heck of a job of being extremely physical, extremely tough, and maximizing what they have. So they're doing a great job already. They're already winning. I mean, they're already Charlie Sheeney winning. I mean, they've done a great job this season. Would you like to see them take this is maybe the next step to say for real? But they've already proven a lot to me already through their start of the season.
How much more obnoxious has Desmond been week to week?
He's always obnoxious. He doesn't change. No, Des is fun. We don't talk. I know it sounds. We don't talk about our alma maters that much. I mean, we're so busy with all the crud we got going on. It's hard to. We'll throw things at each other's faces occasionally, but most of the time, whoever we pick is who we think is going to win, and then we usually pick on each other for our picks. And especially me of late, I've been getting drilled. I stunk lately, so my picks have been horrible.
Who are you picking tomorrow? This game?
You got to tell me who's playing on Michigan State's offensive line, so I have a little bit more time. If you know Conklin's playing, if you know the center's playing, that makes a big difference. If that's the case, and if they're healthy up front, I would pick Michigan State, just because Connor Cook, more weapons, more experienced quarterback. Both defenses are really physical. Both are going to make plays. I think Cook would be the difference, but he's won some big games. I mean, that kid's run a Big Ten championship against Ohio State and kept them out of a title game, and then the Rose Bowl against Stanford. He won. I mean, he's played in some big moments. I don't worry about him as much as I worry about Jake on the other side.
So Jake would be your X factor in this game.
Yeah, if Jake plays well, then obviously it makes a big difference. Because Michigan State's secondary too is not what it was. It's not locked down like it used to be, and so there's plays to be made, but can you take advantage of those plays? And that's, it's easy to watch tape and go, these guys are giving up big plays when you play against, different quarterbacks, but different systems too make different fights and make players defend space more. I mean, you play Baylor, those receivers are 4 miles spread out wide. They make you cover the whole field, so it makes a big difference. But it should be interesting. I'm just glad it's going to be a game we're coming into and we're not thinking that Michigan State's going to destroy them, because the last couple of years it's been like, I think at one point it was like minus 67 yards rushing or something a couple of years ago, something like that. It was just, I was like, this is painful. I mean, it's awful. I'm sure y'all lived it, so I'm sure y'all know. Michigan fans are like, yeah, let's go. Let's play now.